Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Bryton Rider S810 GPS color cycling computer. While Bryton is best known as a budget-friendly cycling computer, they also have their sporty S series, which is their premium lineup. The new S810 is the latest iteration of the top-of-the-line S series, which combines a massive 3.5-inch screen with some of the latest technology. Packaging-wise, you can see very simple. You have a nice glossy representation of the computer right on the front, some specs on the sides and the back, and a very simple cardboard box. I'll go ahead and open this up and we'll go over the specs. Retail price on this is $300. You have a 3.5-inch color touchscreen, one of the largest you can get on the market. You have 50-hour runtime, which is really impressive, and the runtime will actually adjust depending on your usage. You have their Climb Challenge 2.0, which gives you real-time climb metrics as you're riding, even if you don't have a route loaded. And you also have Strava Live segments, which is one of the first time I've seen these Strava Live segments on a more budget-friendly computer. As a part of the S series, you also have the removable rear mount, so you can swap this out between the Bryton or an optional Garmin one. As far as what comes with it, you can see we have the computer, really nice and large with a premium feel. Very simple handlebar mount with just the O-rings and a hook design. USB Type-C charging cable, and then a little safety tether, as well as a little quick start guide to help set up the computer and learn the basic user interface. Now let's take a look at the weight of the computer. So the computer by itself comes in at 115 grams. And then the simple handlebar mount with the longer O-rings. That's all pretty lightweight at only 9 grams. Visually, the Bryton S810 continues the S-Series lineup of premium details with a nice large screen and smooth corners. The large 3.5-inch screen makes this one of the larger computers that Bryton makes and comparable to the top-end Garmin. With this latest iteration, they've continued some of the styling elements we've seen with the S510, with this gray accent color around it, nice smooth corners with a plastic body. And the cool thing about the A10 here is you have these curved glass upper screen. So it really looks premium, and you can see instead of using plastic, it's actually the screen itself. So really attractive finish, minimal bezels, and again, really large display. You basically have the Bryton branding on the front in white, and then Bryton underneath it. Dimensionally, this is 102.5 by 57.6 by 15.8 millimeters. So fairly thin, and you can see they've rounded the edges to make it a little more slimmer and accommodate the larger battery. Despite being a touchscreen model, you can see you do have 4 buttons. You have a dedicated power button, top left, that can also lock the screen, a lap button here, and you can see nice texture to them. And on the other side, you have the start and stop recording, as well as the page change button. On the bottom edge, you have this little rubber cover for the USB Type-C charging port. And then on the back side, you can see the mount. This actually looks like a Garmin mount, but it's their Bryton model. So you can see the tabs here are a little bit thicker than you would have on a Garmin mount. But it's identical in terms of how it works. You have the same slots here. Line them up, rotate, and then you can see nice and secure. The great thing about the S series of computers is the fact that it's replaceable. So you can see the 4 screws here, so you can swap out this Bryton version for an optional Garmin one. And that's something I recommend, especially if you already have a mount that doesn't have the Bryton adapters. You can just swap this out and then use this like you would with any other GPS computer. They only include a very basic handlebar mount. So it's your standard hook mount. So you can put this on your handlebar, run this on the side, wrap it around, run the other O-ring. But very simple, I'd recommend an out front mount. And especially if you swap this over to the Garmin mount, you can use it with just about anything on the market. There are a few manufacturers that make a Bryton specific out front mount, like KOM Cycling or Bryton themselves with their sport mount. As far as the user interface, very simple. Same design as the other Bryton computers. Long hold to power it on. You get a nice home page that shows you the profiles. So you can see indoor, road, and you can customize the experience and colors. You have a navigation button, so you can find points of interest. And courses conceals a lot of the cool features, so you can load a route. You can even do Explore, which lets you find a route on the fly. So with your phone attached, you can actually search for routes around you from anything from 1 mile to 100 miles, and it'll give you some options. You can load workouts if you have them set up and uploaded here. Smart Trainer, and then the Group Ride feature, which is really cool. So with Group Ride, you can actually track other people with the Bryton computers, see where you are relative to them, and even chat with them. And we have a whole dedicated video on that. You have a little gear icon with the settings. You can see a nice and responsive color touchscreen. And then you can even see your previous rides here and your user profile. When you click on a specific profile, you can see you get multiple data screens, map view, and from here you can actually customize the data fields by just doing a long hold. Then I'll activate the little pencil icon, tap it again, and you can change the field on the fly. So it's a pretty cool feature. It lets you make adjustments while you're riding, but obviously you want to use the Bryton app to really fully customize this. If you swipe up, you'll get back to the home page. And the other cool thing about this is you have the quick status feature. So I just tap, it'll bring up a little status indicator, and I can customize this additionally to put any things of interest. So I have time here. You can put other metrics here, and you can access it anywhere by just tapping really quickly. Now let's take a look at the GPS in action. Here you can see to start a ride, you just power it on, get the nice Bryton animation and pretty quick power up. From there, you can either just start riding, you can hit the record button, or you can go to courses, route, and then pick a pre-planned route. You can update these from Strava, Ride GPS, or other platforms really quickly, or create them directly on the app. You can see once you find the route, you press play, and then it'll ask you if you want to navigate there. If not, you can simply start riding. The great thing about the Climb Challenge 2.0 is that you can see here, you actually get a forward elevation chart, which is really nice. So you can actually see what's coming, whether it's rollers or descent. You don't just see the climbs. So a really nice feature. And it's a lot more useful than the traditional elevation chart that shows you where you've already been, which doesn't really help you. And the other thing I like about Bryton is you get that little prompt. Did you forget to start recording when it detects you moved? So really simple, so you don't accidentally forget to not record. The other thing I really like about Bryton is you can see the navigation prompts here are nice and large, and they actually show a little animation of the turn. So it's not just a left or right. It'll show you a little picture of the actual intersection. So very useful, and especially useful when you have a complicated turn or multi-lane area. So you see exactly where you're doing. The map view is also pretty nice. So nice details. You have all the coloring, street names, and you can see the touchscreen is nice and responsive. You can see with this big screen too, you have tons of real estate, so you can pack a lot of data here. And the UI is very open, so there's no artificial restrictions like some GPS computers. You can keep zooming out or in to pretty big limits. So you can zoom out all the way to the continent level. And you can see there is a little bit of lag there, so it's not instantaneous, but you can see it loads pretty quickly. And if you do a single tap and you miss a button, it'll bring up that quick status widget, which is also a really nice feature. So you can see the time or other important data you want to see, but you don't want to really sacrifice a data field. So you can see you can zoom back in, and pretty simple, so nice and flexible. And the navigation is pretty reliable too, so even riding somewhere new, you can rely on this. The other thing I like about this computer is that it's very flexible. Bryton doesn't block you. You can stop a route navigation mid-route, and then you can just swipe up to go back to the main screen, and you can do whatever you want. So you can pick a different route, you can change any settings, you can connect sensors, so you're not blocked out like some computers. So if you want to change something mid-ride, that's not a problem. The Climb Challenge 2.0 is another really cool feature. So here you can see when you're approaching a climb, whether it's a climb on a pre-loaded route or you're just doing a free ride, you can see it automatically detect it, show it on the map, and give you an indicator. This is the standard free ride. So no route selected, it just knows based on heading, which is a really cool feature. So you can see a little preview of the actual altitude. You get a nice prompt to say start climbing. And then you get full specs here. So distance, gradient, the height remaining, and a color-coded profile. So a really cool feature, and it'll follow you all the way up the hill. So it's nice and responsive here. You can see it fast-forwarded. And one of the biggest reasons to upgrade from the S800, this really lets you just do a free ride, but see the whole profile that's coming up. And with this big giant screen, you can see you have a map view, you have a profile, and then you have 6 different fields underneath it, and it doesn't really feel cramped, unlike the 510, which feels a lot more cramped with the smaller screen. So overall, a really nice computer, intuitive user interface, with a 3.5-inch screen. You have tons of real estate. Here we actually have the original Bryton S800, and you can really see the difference with the screen design. They're both 3.5 inches, but you can see the bezel on the bottom one is quite a bit taller, so they've really slimmed it down. The previous one had the white accent, while the new one has more of a gray accent, but otherwise very similar designs. They both have the replaceable mount, but they've improved the finish on the newer one, so this makes it look more premium. Really the big difference here too is if you look at the screen, with the old one it's a flat screen with a plastic edge, while the new one actually has a curved glass screen. So it really makes it look more premium, and when you touch it and feel it too, it feels like a higher end model. Bryton has also updated their S500 to the 510, so you can see very similar. They both have the gray. You can see the screen on this one though is flat, while the 810 has a more premium curved one. Obviously you have a bigger display with a 3.5-inch screen on the 810, but very similar features. You do get the Strava live segment with the 810. You don't get that with the 510 currently. So that's one of the big differences. Otherwise, same group ride, ambient light sensor and other features, but you just get the bigger display, same swappable mounts, and again, the Strava live segments. Bryton also sells more affordable models like the Rider S810. The big difference here is these are black and white. Very limited configuration, but a lot more affordable. And you can see super thin, non-replaceable mount, the Bryton specific. That's a great option if you're on a budget and you just want to see basic metrics. iGPSPORT also has a competitor with the IGS800. Similar shape. The nice thing about this model though is that you actually have the Garmin mount in metal, which you don't have with the Bryton, so it feels more premium. Has a fake carbon fiber finish on the backside, which is kind of a weird feature. It doesn't really add much value, but the metal mount here is a nice design. The nice thing about the iGPSPORT though is they actually have more training load type things like a Garmin, so you can see your stamina and other things if you use a heart rate monitor, and it give you some more detail about your current condition. The nice thing about Bryton though is it's a bigger, brighter screen than the IGS800, better user interface, more intuitive prompts, and you get the Strava live segments versus iGPSPORT's built-in segments, so you can use segments through their app, but they don't correlate to Strava. They also have more affordable options like the BSC series. This is the 300T. So color touchscreen, really bright, but quite a bit smaller. So obviously with the 810, you get a much bigger screen and additional features that you don't get with the iGPSPORT, like the climb features, even without a route loaded. So definitely tons of options, but with the Bryton S810, you get their top model with a really huge screen. Now let's take a look at the Bryton Active App. With the Active App, you can actually do a lot of customization and quick configuration on the Bryton, as well as upload routes and do third-party syncing like Strava. The app itself has a very simple design. You can see you basically have 4 tabs. You can see your previous rides here. When you go to the plus sign, here you can set up your routes and navigation. So you can see I have a couple routes loaded already. And if there's anything you actually want to ride with, you can select it and then download to device. Then if I go to courses here, you can see this would show up after the route has been sent. So I go back. You can see now I have that route on here. It's not quite as seamless as Garmin where automatically everything gets uploaded. This one you still have to manually select what you want. You have live segments, which is a new feature. So with this one, you have to set up your Strava account, and you do need a Strava subscription. It's not a free thing. So that's one downside of it. You do need the Strava subscription, which isn't cheap either. You can see the app itself also has really cool animations and overlays. They've really improved it over time. And then you can set up your user settings, so your weight, your gender, other things to help some of the heart rate zones and other things be more customized to you. The main feature of this though is really to customize the app, is customize the actual device. So through the device page, you can see I have the 810 already loaded. You can see there's a new software version, so you can go download that. You can turn on or off the auto sync. Under bike setting, I can customize the different profiles here, rename them, provide different colors. If you go on here, you can do ride config, and then under data page, you can customize each profile to have a different page configuration. You can turn on or off pages, and then for each page, you can adjust it. So you can see here, I can just select the one I want, and then change that to a different value. So tons of data field options, and you can see you have different screen layouts. So you can do even more options, so I can go all the way up to this full, I think 10 or 11, 12 data fields. So the highest level you can do every single setting. And the cool thing about these higher end computers is you get the more cool graphical effects. So if I go back down, you can see I have a speed ring here, and that's that little round indicator. So you get that round indicator. If I go back down more, you can see it updates in real time. It's a little bit tedious the first time, but once you have it set up, you can see once you have the right layout, I can go and adjust the data fields really quickly. So with each data field, tons of options. So power analysis, cycling dynamics, FTP, e-bike connection, graphical views, the pedal analysis. So if you have a pedal power meter, you can actually see left and right balance. And then with each one of them, you have tons of options in here as well. So a pretty nice option, and you can customize every page. And once you're happy with it, you can go set up the other pages, enable, disable them, or move them around. You also have a lot of auto features, so you can turn on auto lap, turn it off, auto pause. A lot of these, again, are actually on the device. And then from here, you can set up your sensors, general settings, ketones. So you can turn on or off, backlight, and pretty simple to use. It's really nice to analyze your rides too. So if you go back to a previous ride, you can see you get the distance, you get details. It's not quite as nice as the Strava or other platforms, but you do see all your climb profiles and analysis in one place without paying for additional subscriptions. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Bryton S810. What we like about it is you have a premium look and feel, especially with that curved glass top. And you also have a really bright and vibrant 3.5-inch color touchscreen, which is really responsive, and has a very intuitive user interface with nice navigation prompts that actually show you a little indication of the intersection instead of just a generic arrow. The main negatives here is the fact that this computer doesn't lack any training metrics, which has become really popular in the mid-range computers. And the updated Garmin adapter, if you don't want to use the Bryton one, is a little bit hard to find. You have to make sure you get the V2, and seems to be on only a few suppliers. Taking everything into account, we give the S810 GPS a 9.3 out of 10. It's a nice premium look and feel and a great upgrade to the previous S800. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.